Hey everyone, it's Philip, and welcome to another episode of Phasing Forward. So very quick thing, before we properly begin talking about today's episode, I just want to quickly bring up that yes, Zen is not joining me for this episode. Essentially, we ran into some troubles where essentially Zen was recording something else before we sat down to do this episode, and it went on for like I think over 2 hours, and it really drained her out. It really drained her. So essentially, and also earlier in the day, she had a little bit of a she had a bit of a fright essentially because because of like something to do with Kana. Essentially, you know, she thought she had lost Kana essentially, and that was really freaking scary for her, and she just told me about it, and like it kind of scared me honestly. So everybody go send Zen hugs. I'm pretty sure by this point it'll be like a couple of days after it's happened, but everyone go send her love, go send her hugs. You know, yeah, so that's why she's not joining us for today's episode. But luckily we already had someone on board to be a guest for this episode, and now I guess you're my co-host for this episode. So introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, it's me, Casey, also known as Miss Nightmare from Miss Night Reviews, and also I'm the voice of Kana on Zenith's show.
Yeah, it's Kana. Today our guest is Kana. Oh, wait a minute. No, I have to like readjust my mind. So, yeah, it's Casey. It's Casey. I don't know who this Kana person is. Wrong channel.
It's all good. It's all good.
Man, I really wish Zen was here because like there's so many Kana jokes we'd make. So many Kana jokes. We actually mentioned last week about Zen plans to have Kana say friggin' Suplex City bitch on her show. And I was just like, man, Casey saying bitch as Kana is the most cursed thing.
Oh no, not only would be the most cursed thing, me even saying the F word in a way that even my friends have said, Casey, you sound like a sneezing kitten when you swear.
Like just you because I was rewatching the Humongous Entertainment video we did, and it's like just because there's a point like where you're like because you were complaining about like how Putt is like so zany and wacky, and it's like this is my shit, and I'm like, oh okay, I forgot the fact that Kana swears at that point.
Oh wow, I forgot about that too.
I'm gonna unironically start putting more fucking swear words for Kana when I script the Bun Squad from now on.
Oh dear God. Oh dear God, no. Will you let Kana say the F word? Oh dear God, you'll break the universe.
Mommy, I'm gonna say the F word. No, you can't say the F word, Kana. You're too innocent.
But Mommy, I want to. Oh God.
Eventually we'll have Kana say fuck, but probably not for a while because, you know, I want to keep her innocence, well, as much of her innocence as I can keep.
Oh, you say innocence. For me, when I play Kana, I just think, oh, this is just my little sidekick for my show, Mokuna, if they weren't drinking.
Oh, God. Man, we just have to, like, sit down one time and just, like, make an entire podcast. Like, you, me, Zen, and Michelle, we're just gonna make an entire podcast just about the Bun Squad. Just, like, talking about behind-the-scenes shit for the Bun Squad. Because there's a lot of stuff we could talk about there.
Oh, yeah. I think there would be, especially with where I have the longest takes out of anybody next to Zenith.
Oh, you have not fucking seen my takes. You have not fucking seen my recordings for those goddamn videos.
I want to see the outtakes already. I want to see those right now.
The outtakes we're planning for in between, because we have a bunch of videos planned for in between Blood Blockade Battlefront and Danganronpa 1. That's like one of the ones, because we have like an entire story compilation planned, and we have like the blooper reel planned. That's one of the things we have planned, so yeah.
Oh yeah, and I've already done some of the storyline stuff. I think for like 2, You will cry.
But now we're getting into behind the scenes shit. We can't talk about this, Casey. Moving on.
No. I don't say you will cry with the storyline, but we're talking about other storylines that have more complex and theories and all that stuff.
Swift transition to WandaVision.
WandaVision, yay!
So, very quickly before we jump into the episode, what have you been thinking of WandaVision up until now, from episodes 1 to 4?
Well, I have been honestly loving it. I already knew going in, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have Wanda basically break down. I know that Vision's dead, but how is he alive? Yeah, episode 4 revealed that it could be a possibility that he's an animated corpse, but I don't want to think about that right now because that was my nightmare fuel. That was a nightmare fuel for me. And so, but also, like, I'm just excited. We get to see more of these characters and knowing that, yes, the events here are going to affect 2 films and phase 4. I'm excited, though, of course, I have my mom. I have talked to my mom. It's not her cup of tea, and my dad did not know what was going on. He was not liking it until episode 4. I had to say to them, watch episode 4. I think Dad will finally get to know what happens. And I couldn't talk to them about episode 5 because they hadn't watched it yet. I just said to my mom, if you don't get one person, just text me. Please text me. And it's the special guest of this episode, not me, the other one.
I love how this episode is literally called a very special episode. We know what's coming, you know. It's and I think, like, we'll talk about it later, but I think, like, Elizabeth Olsen said, this WandaVision is gonna have a cameo, like, to rival Luke Skywalker's appearance at the end of Mandalorian season 2. Oh, by the way, spoilers for our viewers on Mandalorian season 2. But and everyone was just like, oh, no one's as big as Luke. Like, who can you get to, like, rival Luke? And I'm like, and I mean, like, character-wise, it's definitely not as big as, like, Luke Skywalker, but, like, implication-wise, this definitely shocked me much more than that did. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that, like, near the end of the episode, especially because we've been talking about this fucking character for, like, the last 2 episodes, which is why I'm really fucking pissed that Zen wasn't here, because I had a lot of stuff I want to talk about with that. But then I also know why she's not here, and, you know, and it's all fine. We'll have a lot to say next week, though, so I can't wait for that. But let's begin with the beginning of the episode, as we always do. Now, last episode started off with a bang, and this one, like, didn't start off with as big of a bang, but we had a lot of, like, things already in the beginning of this episode that's just like, oh, things are going awry. Like, for example, just Agnes completely, like, breaking characters. Like, oh, do you want to take 2? Like, do you want me to just start over and, you know, do it again? And Wanda's just like, Agnes, what do you mean? What are you talking about it? What are you talking about? Please shut up. And then also, on top of that, you know, Vision's, of course, starting to piece 2 and 2 together. And the twins are fucking aging, which is something that the trailers did not spoil. It's something that I thought was probably going to happen, but, like, it's something I thought that was going to happen, that they were going to age the twins up, like, gradually as the series went on. But it's like, the fact that they didn't even show it and, like, made people guess if that was actually going to happen or not. I like that. I really, really like that.
I was like, okay, it's just gonna be them having a whole episode dealing with babies, and no, they're now 5 years old now, and I'm like, oh. Agnes, what did you really spray on these boys? Because, like, when Vision is talking with Wanda about what just happened, and with Agnes is like, do that take there, she's just spraying what she calls, like, I don't know what she calls, it's some type of, like, herbs that she's spraying with lavender to calm the babies down. But
Ralph tries to spray it on me every night, but there's no taming this tiger. I swear to God, I fucking love her.
No, like, I love the actress who plays her Agnes so much. She's the same woman who voiced, Dr. Olivia Octavius and Into the Spider-Verse, and
Oh
I just
shit! I
loved
did
her.
not even fucking know that. Really?
Oh yes, I'm surprised you didn't look at her cast list.
No, I didn't even know that. Holy shit! I didn't know. Like I know that.
I know.
It's funny because like I know the person who's playing Kate Bishop for the Hawkeye series coming up is Gwen from Into the Spider-Verse, but I did not know that like she was. Oh man, I didn't even fucking know that.
Yeah, but like with her spraying that stuff on the babies, and now all of a sudden, oh, they aged up. I'm like, okay, because we all have a very big theory that Agnes could be Agatha Harkness, and my theory, yes, she could be a witch. That is kind of self-aware. But what if she sprayed something that helps accelerate not only for the twins to age, but also maybe to hone in on their powers? That could be a big possibility, because like later in the
Yeah,
because also
because
ahead.
yeah, that's a maybe, but it's also like they've been like because their birth rate like accelerated. You know that they were 9 months early, for crying out loud. So it's like it's something that like was already like, you know, established with the babies, like as they were like growing inside of Wanda, and now so their aging isn't exactly like, I feel like whatever is the cause there is probably also the cause here. I'm thinking it's probably, you know, either Wanda or whoever the true villain of the series is. They're probably like, you know, they probably conjured these kids up, but you know, knowing what happens in the comics, they'll probably some way to like bullshit them into reality. Actually, no. Actually, no. There is actually, if this episode is anything to go by, actually, they may be able to bring them into reality, seeing how, like, you know, this isn't an illusion. Like, Wanda's literally creating reality, but we'll have to see.
Not to mention that these kids, no, they age once. They age twice up during this episode. Like, kids? I know you're following the 80s sitcoms where they have to keep changing the young kids up because of like rewrites and stuff like that. Oh my god, that's what they were totally doing when they were aging.
Yeah.
Oh dear god almighty. Like this whole like episode, like intermixed with shots to the reality, is also a focus on the 80s with the title A Very Special Episode also being what a lot of the heavier episodes of 80s sitcoms and also 90s sitcoms would talk about, such as that of like darker things that they try to make a little bit more darker, such as like oh, this person's doing drugs, oh, there's a death in the family, oh no, oh, no, like oh no, why are you smoking, or there's like so much very special episodes. There's a YouTube channel, I think, that does like make fun of some of the weirder very special episodes, which is very fun. I recommend you take a look at that. But
you're gonna have to take a look at that.
Oh yeah, but for this, it's more of a double entendre kinda, because like there's talk about death later in the episode, but also it means a big specific meaning to a lot of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
In this episode, especially for what we know so far. And yeah, oh man, we're talking about death. Oh look, the twins found a puppy.
It's dead.
Oh no, it's dead. We had it for like 1 day.
I can't be the only person who when I saw that goddamn puppy, I was like, oh, they're doing like what Tom King did with the freaking with the Vision series, like his 12-issue Vision series, because in that series, like along with creating his own family, he also created like a robot dog or a synthesoid dog. So it's like, I can't be the only person who was drawing parallels there, because like seeing like that opening and like that image of like of Wanda and Vision and like and Billy and Tommy, the first thing that came to mind was like the cover of issue 1, where it's like Vision, his wife, and like and his 2 kids. And I was like, and so at the moment I saw that puppy, I was like, oh, they're drawing like big Tom King Vision parallels here, which so that was like really fun for me. But yeah, that puppy, rest in peace. Rest in
I'm
peace, puppy.
surprised that the dog did not die from being close to the plug and be almost electrocuted.
Yeah.
Like, the dog's name is called Sparky, but I'm surprised Sparky didn't die right there. But the series also brings up that like, when Wanda actually makes does her magic and makes a collar appear while Agnes isn't looking, and Vision is like, we promised not to do our magic in front of people, and Wanda's like, I don't care.
Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Like she looks like she's on drugs usually. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but when I look at that, I'm like, oh, okay. Why does this episode kind of remind me a bit of Captain America: Civil War? That's what it's reminding me a bit of, and speaking of that film, the commercial. I know we're skipping a little bit ahead of it, but the commercial. I did not know the significance of the commercial. I know it's like, okay, this relates to Wanda's life, but I don't know what this is supposed to mean.
I picked up on it immediately because, like, maybe it's because again, like I mentioned in previous episodes, I've recently done a MCU rewatch, and I also think they like mentioned like Lagos earlier in the episode, like when they're mentioning like,
yes, they did.
When they mentioned it, so it was like fresh on the mind. But yeah, the moment that they mentioned Lagos, I was like, okay, yeah, I see what they're doing here.
Yeah, I think I saw Erod, aka the Blockbuster Buster. He retweeted it, the Lagos commercial, and then a scared Wanda. I'm like, where have you seen that scared Wanda? And then it hit me with the Civil War thing. I'm like, oh. Especially when you really pay attention to the commercial towards the end, it kind of sounds like there's a crash that happens. Like, not a water spill, an actual crash. Probably the same sound crash of Wanda trying to stop the suicide bomber, but then, of course, she's not able to control it and accidentally kills some people.
For when you make a mess and you didn't mean to. Or for when you make a mess when you didn't mean to. And it's like, that's... The moment I heard that line, I was like, real clever episode.
Yeah. Though, of course, like, after we get part of the sitcom, we actually now are finally in this episode cutting back between the sitcom reality and the real world reality, happening kind of almost at a weird different pace.
Yeah, I'm happy that like they're doing this now, because like I was thinking that like we wouldn't really get this, like even after like the intermission episode. I was thinking like that with the 80s, 90s, and 2000s episode, I was like, they'll still probably like keep it mostly like in reality, and like anything to do with the outside of this reality will be like either at the start or the end of each episode. But like it'll largely still be just like on the sitcom. But I kind of like the fact that like they're doing it where it's like it's half and half. Like we keep cutting back between the sitcom and the outside. I really like that. I think it's a really I feel like we kind of need that, because it's like, okay, now we know of this whole facade. We know of this whole facade. So like, why like keep it up when we know that like there's stuff going on outside? And so I kind of thought that like, maybe they would like still keep it like all within the sitcom, but like write it like in a way that like we know that something, like we know of what's happening on the outside, and so they. But so basically they write it around that, and like we know what's happening on the outside, and this is what they're trying to do, but still keep it within the sitcom. But I like the fact that like they're doing a like 50-50, where we're still progressing the plot on the outside, but we're still keeping the facade like with the sitcom.
We see Monica Rambeau. She's first getting like an X-ray examination, and basically about how what she remembered from how she remembered from being like inside there. She just remembers entering, feeling a little bit of pain, feeling wonder in her mind, and only feeling despair. I
actually went back. I actually went back in that episode, because there was like a split moment that was like from none of the movies and nothing. Like, and it was like, and it made me think like, that's probably like right after like Tony's funeral or something, and she's just like breaking down about Vision. So yeah, we'll probably see that moment in like a future episode, like via flashback or whatever. But yeah, this is absolutely like Wanda grieving, which we all called that. It's like, this is Wanda grieving for, Vision. This is her, thinking, oh, god damn it. Like, because again, this is like still, like, just 3 weeks after, like, in Wanda's head, this is 3 weeks after Vision died because, she got blipped. So she would absolutely still be in that mourning period where she, like, she wants Vision back, and she's now being presented with this opportunity, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna bring him back, and she's just going out of her way to just create this reality. And yeah, it's I love how we're finally starting to like get into this, whereas before this it's all been like hints and stuff. And I love the pacing of this series and how it's like gradually gotten to this point. It's just great. It's just absolutely great for me.
I like the reality stuff. Like, it makes it more interesting in what we get to know on the outside a lot more, especially because, like, during when Monica gets, like, her x-rays back, the actual scientist is like, okay, there's nothing here. It's completely blank. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, I think Monica might be developing her mutant powers, or maybe it's hidden. Ooh, I don't know. Because, like in the comics, Monica does receive superpowers, and get the fact that for Wanda,
she was Captain Marvel. Yeah, she was Captain Marvel in the comics.
Oh yeah, but then she went by the name of Photon, which is the nickname her mother had. So, my own guess, because Wanda's powers are now on the wave of the Big Bang. Like, that's how much her power has grown, and also a little bit of Big Bang radiation. Maybe when she did throw Monica out, yes, the clothing that Monica wears, which, yes, her clothing was still the same clothing she wore when she went into the world. It got shifted to become, well, 17's clothing. It's still bulletproof, though. So, for my own guess, Monica might be gaining superpowers accidentally given to her by Wanda. She accidentally becomes the first ever mutant. That's a big possibility that would be happening, especially because Monica's gonna be appearing in Captain Marvel 2.
Speaking of which, I love how sorry, I just have to clear my throat. I love how in this episode they mention, like, the ending events of Endgame, and how how Wanda almost fucking killed Thanos if he didn't rain fire down. I love how they bring that up. I'm like, yes, mentioning just fucking how OP she was in that moment. It's fucking great. And then they bring up Captain Marvel, and Monica doesn't want to talk about her. She's just like, we're not talking about her, we're talking about Wanda. And I doubt that has anything to do with this series. I'm pretty sure that's going to have everything to do with Captain Marvel 2. I think that Monica's really pissed that Carol wasn't there when her mother died.
Oh no, there's actually a theory going around that Captain Marvel was present when her best friend died. It's why Captain Marvel was presented with short hair during the 5-year skip in Endgame.
I saw that.
She probably shaved her head when her best friend got cancer again. And that's why her hair is short. She saw, and then why she was looking at Thanos very angry was because, well, her best friend, she lost her best friend, and also knowing that her best friend's daughter and someone she considered a niece was blipped out. So, yeah, Captain Marvel's pissed.
Yeah.
But so I feel like that's also going to come into conflict with Captain Marvel 2 when we get there. But the way that they're also trying to figure things out for Wanda, and then all of a sudden I had to remember this for the 4th episode. The temporary director of S.W.O.R.D. somehow, even though they already know about Wanda and Vision, just now brings up this security camera footage of Wanda breaking into S.W.O.R.D.
He said, he said the whole excuse behind it was that, like, they that he just got authorization to release it, but it still doesn't change the fact that they fucking knew that, like, Wanda, like, took Vision's body, and yet they still had her, like, oh, she's a victim in all of this, where it's like, no, you fucking assholes, you knew.
like you also you're the director. You're currently the head of things, temporary head of things. You already knew about this shit, and also why when Wanda comes to get Vision's body, why were you taking Vision's body apart in pieces? Yes, they do mention his will that he didn't want to be used as a weapon, but why were you taking apart his body? He was still a person. He had a will. Why are you taking it apart like a robot? Like he was a person with feelings.
That is a good point. I'm legitimately going to be curious if they actually bring that back in like future episodes and like touch up on that. It's like they were taking part of his body, like, and that could be one of those things where like they could just like completely ignore that like going forward, but like you know, they could just like write it off as like, oh, they were just doing research on his body, maybe to see if they could bring him back, and then Wanda took the body, or they could absolutely go into that. I'm going to be very interested to see if they actually touch up on that in the remaining 4 episodes. So
also they did like a quick recap on Wanda's past, who she was, some of the incidents that happened, but also like as Darcy mentions, this is why I don't want them mentioning the word. And they call Wanda a terrorist, and I look at that, I'm like, no, she's not a terrorist. No, why? But also Darcy makes something fun is that she mentions hex magic, and I know that's Wanda's power, and I'm like, and they're like, what hex magic? And they're like, oh yeah, no, it's short for the hexagon that keeps appearing in the sitcoms. And I'm like,
I love
I love it.
I love that, like the fact that like maybe that's like, you know, maybe that's that hexagon still like relates to something, but I just love like I just love how I kind of get the feeling like they had that hexagon there just to like create the term hex magic, and that it means nothing else. Like of course I might be wrong about that, but like that could be like one possibility, like that's just completely a red herring, and they have like they just had that there to like create the term hex.
Well, yeah, also, if I'm not sure if you talked about this in the 4th episode, but when they go into the assistant director's office, his diplomas on the wall are shaped like a hexagon.
Whoa, what? I didn't actually notice that. What?
Yes. Yeah, his diplomas are arranged in a way that looks like a hexagon. So he could actually have something to do with this in secret. Even though he's like, oh, I'm fine being the assistant director. I know that your mother was like the head and everything. And you just came back from being blipped after 5 years.
Yeah, I was having like inklings that, okay, he was, you know, I forget his name, but I was having inklings that like this guy.
Me too.
Yeah, I was having inklings that he was like, you know, in on this somehow. But, like, I didn't know, like, how far I wanted to go with that. Like, what I was thinking was that his whole thing right now is, like, he's on, like, the same level as someone like, say, Thunderbolt Ross. And he's just using this entire thing to just, like, wipe, or just like, get rid of Wanda because of all the things she's done. Because he's an arsehole. But I'm thinking that there's a potential that like he could absolutely have stuff to like he could absolutely have something to do with this entire thing after you mentioned that.
Oh my god, I have a theory. I have a freaking theory.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of it now. Yeah, Hydra had their files spit out, but what if Hydra remade himself underground again? Yeah, they were added, but maybe Hydra decided, okay, we're added. Let's go back, hit hidden. Maybe he's a secret Hydra agent.
I don't know, because I think with that is that, like, I don't... that would also because, like, when Jimmy Woo, like, mentioned, like, how, like, oh, that's not exactly how the Hydra incident with Wanda happened, like, you know, he was kind of looking at Jimmy kind of funny. But, like, I also don't really want them to do that, because that's just kind of a retread of what they already did with Winter Soldier.
Maybe a different version of Hydra? I mean, there's probably more than one, like, evil organization, but not to mention, I love how they bring up the point where they're like, she's Wanda Maximoff, and the director's like, no, silly name, and they're like, no, because at the time, it's a funny thing that they make that joke in, because they
haven't actually said Scarlet Witch in any of these goddamn movies.
No, because Scarlet Witch the name was owned by Fox. And Disney did not have the whole rights of that name. They still had Wanda Maximoff. They didn't know the rights of Scarlet Witch. So
even though in like all the promotional material for like Avengers and Civil War and stuff like that, they still refer to her as like Scarlet Witch. Like I remember like during the trailers for Civil War, like at the end of them, they would always have like, oh, hashtag Team Cap, hashtag Team Iron Man, and like hashtags for like all the individual Avengers, and like they had Scarlet Witch there. So I was just like, you keep using Scarlet Witch even though you can't actually call her Scarlet Witch within the stories, but or within the movies. But yeah, it's funny because like, and now they're finally gonna bring that back. Is they finally gonna bring in, you know, the name Scarlet Witch? They're finally bringing in like the name Hex Magic. You know, yeah, it's great. I love it.
And then of course, like as we get the reality stuff, like Monica does not want any harm to come to Wanda because she wasn't there for a bit and kind of realizes that Wanda's still grieving. She, even if she didn't mean to accidentally take over the town, she's still grieving. But the director's like, no, we have to take her down. And so when Monica realizes during, like, after looking at the toy and why it changed from the helicopter that she had, which I love that the helicopter in the last episode had like Captain Marvel colors, and then all of a sudden it just turned into Iron Man colors.
Yeah.
In a different model. So when Monica went to her old outfit, 70s outfit that's still being tested, she realized it has the same mechanics of her bulletproof vest that she was wearing when she first entered. When she just looks at Jimmy, she's like, hey, can I borrow this? And Jimmy's like, what? And then she starts shooting at her clothing, and there's like, the bullets have done nothing. And they're like, we could probably phase something in that doesn't need to change during the decade it's in.
And then that leads to like probably like one of my favorite scenes in the entire series so far. But before we get to that, I did want to mention one other thing is like I wasn't expecting this. The Sokovia Accords are still a thing, and I wasn't actually expecting that to happen. I thought like maybe like within the 5 years they'd be like, okay, maybe no use for these Sokovia Accords anymore, so let's just quietly like write them out of the universe. But no, the Sokovia Accords are still very much a thing, which is probably going to stop. That's probably going to stop like any Avengers team from really happening. And then by the time it does happen, I think that's probably going to be the point where they like disregard the Sokovia Accords, or they have like a military official or someone who looking over the Avengers who's not a conservative piece of shit, Thunderbolt Ross.
Isn't that that order where heroes had to sign up during the Civil War?
Civil War. It's it was in Civil War.
Dear
Yeah,
God.
the Sokovia Accords were the whole like conflict of that movie where it's you had to essentially like once you signed it, like superheroes had to basically the Sokovia Accords ensured that the Avengers.
I can't believe that's still in effect after all these years. That's bull.
Yeah, it's essentially like it's you have to sign up like with the Avengers. Like the Avengers had to sign up to like be to take orders from the government essentially.
That's bullshit.
Which you know, and look, I was on Team Iron Man. I thought the Accords, you know, were a good idea. But it's after all these movies, we've seen that like essentially with the Accords. The reason why they didn't end up panning out, and the reason why, the reason why we had like everyone essentially like turn against the Accords was because like, you know, the government figures we got were freaking Thunderbolt Ross, and nobody likes Thunderbolt Ross. He's an asshole. So, you know, it's. I feel like if they're gonna keep the Accords like going for the rest of the MCU, we gotta have like a new. We've got to have like a new head official looking after the Avengers who actually likes the Avengers and will let them, you know, do what they need to do. Just to put like for a lack of a better term, it's. Yeah, I feel like come the new Avengers or the young Avengers or whatever new Avengers team we're going to get in the future.
Probably young Avengers.
Sorry?
Probably young Avengers. So.
I'd say probably both. Like a new Avengers team for like the older members and then young Avengers for like Kate Bishop and Ironheart and all those other characters. So...
Yeah, this is why I was on Team Captain America during Civil War.
Yeah, and I get that. It's just also like... I just also think of like, okay, well, what if the Navy just suddenly decided they were gonna like stop taking orders from the military and they were just gonna do their own thing? Or imagine like, the Marines saying like, oh, screw what the government tells us to do, like, we're gonna do what we want without accountability. Where it's, and I think of like from a civilian's point of view in the MCU, it's like, well, why would a civilian like think that the Avengers should do their own thing, like, and say stuff like the safest hands are still our own, when they wouldn't react like that way for any other section of the military. So, and I'm on that side. I feel like accountability should absolutely be there. And yeah, but this isn't a Civil War discussion, but that's essentially why I was on Team Iron Man for that movie.
Oh no, it's why the Avengers took it into their own hands during Endgame to go back in time and retrieve the Infinity Stones and bring everyone back without the government knowing.
Endgame was a completely different situation where it's just like, okay, fucking aliens and half the universe got fucking aliens came down to Earth and like half the universe got wiped out. I think we're gonna take it into our own hands. Thank you very much.
Yeah, screw the government. We're actually gonna fix things right now that they're not doing.
Yeah.
But after the reality stuff, realizing, oh, we could probably take something that's from that time era and bring it in there, we cut back into the sitcom world where we finally go back to Vision's workplace where there's finally computers, 80s computers. Look at the wonderful 80s computer technology. Even Norm is happy that he tries opening an email with a letter opener.
Yeah.
Oh, but then it starts to get creepy when Vision opens an email and Norm and all the employees read that it's an email to Darcy about like the radiation that happens. It could be affecting the citizens in some way. And Vision starts freaking out. He turns the computer off with his powers and then immediately puts his hands on Norm's head.
Yeah, because it's I love this because it's essentially like, because Vision, is powered by the Mind Stone. It's, this is part of his power where like, this could probably be part of his power where like he could tap into, what's really happening and like encounter Wanda's reality powers. It's so, and I just love this scene because it's, and I feel like it's, Norm doesn't explicitly say Wanda. I feel like he could also be like, this could also be like a red herring and he could probably be talking about someone like Agnes or whoever else is like in charge. So it's...
Well, yeah, he's saying that she's in my mind. And the thing is that we do know Norm's name. It was mentioned in episode 4 along with like a couple other people. But Norm, the actor who plays Norm, is just, he's freaking out because he doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know what day it is. And not to mention... we do hear from him that he has a sister and a father. His father's sick, and he's trying to find a way to contact them, and he's just begging Vision for help. And the thing is, because unfortunately for the actor who plays Norm, he's starting to lose his mind because of everything happening.
Yeah.
The Vision has to use his powers to snap him back to become Norm again. And I'm just like, oh, great. Another nightmare fuel for my night. Yay!
And then it leads to one of the best scenes where freaking Wanda sees the drone that they send into the reality, and freaking then she just like tears it apart, comes out of the reality and throws it to them. We finally see Wanda out of the reality, with her accent, because that was something that I knew was gonna happen. I was like, she's only putting on this American accent because of the sitcom, and then once it snaps back to like what's really happening, it's like, oh, there's her accent again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one thing cool with that scene is that she does have a talk with the sons, because they're like, oh, I thought it's a Saturday. Oh no, it's Monday. Your dad to go like talk about like family, and they do ask about.
I love how much Wanda's bullshit. I love how much Wanda's bullshitting here, because she's like, oh, I can't bring back someone from the dead. We got it's hard, but we got to move on. And it's like, you quite clearly bullshit.
It's the talk with the
I know which one you're talking about, but like I'm like, with both talk with her kids, she's absolutely bullshitting, because it's like she's guilty of a lot of this shit too. It's like, oh, we can't bring someone from there. We have to move on. We have to like grow from their deaths, and it's like, Oh, no, she's quite clearly bullshitting because it's like, yeah, because she fucking brought Vision back to life. It's like, I love how much she's like lying
Possibly.
to children right here.
Yeah, and then when the drone noise is happening, Sparky hears it, and she tries telling her kids to stay in the house, but these are kids. They're not gonna listen. They're curious. So they run out of the house. And the one thing that has been confirmed, that we already figured out, is that when in the real world, they're seeing the sitcom, and Darcy says, okay, we see them looking up at the sky, but Wanda is not showing the drone. She's controlling the jump cuts, which makes a lot of sense. And then the one thing I found neat is when Monica's in control of the drone, she's trying to get Wanda's attention. And on Monica's end, Wanda has that one nice little head tilt of like, oh, I'm gonna kill a bitch. And then her eyes start to glow red during the black and white video footage. But the thing is, the acting director gives a nod to the soldier and disables Monica's controls and tries shooting Wanda while there's two kids there. These two very clearly could be real kids.
I just love this fucking scene that follows, how like they've pissed her off so much. We see her in reality and she fucking puts all the guns toward the acting director. I'm just like, fuck yeah, bitch. Kill him.
But they don't because well, they don't do that because, well, she doesn't have them kill him because she puts her magic on the soldiers, but as soon as she turns away and is focused on going back in, the magic on them drops. So because she's focusing all of her attention on going back inside. But the one thing I made note of, yeah, I love that she has her accent back and it's basically pulling off the American stick in the sitcoms, is that for Wanda, she's wearing kind of basically almost the same outfit she's wearing in Endgame. But what's something new that I had noticed, and I had to tell Phil that, yeah, it's there. I think I know what it is. Wanda's wearing a necklace that has a gem on it. The gem eerily looks similar to a gemstone. A mind stone, perhaps.
Yes, it's something like, again, and I'm not like pushing away any possibilities with this series, because like I've already seen how like trippy it can get. I think that this one's probably a bit of a stretch. You know, I feel like it could potentially just be like just a regular gemstone, but it's, you know, yeah, I don't know. It's like, it could be the Mind Stone. I feel like, you know, with Vision having like, you know, potential, like, cause, you know, him being like, quote unquote, brought back to life, you know, he obviously has the Mind Stone in his head. So possibly. I feel like, yeah, possibly. So I don't know. I feel like, I don't feel like I don't feel like that it's gonna be the Mind Stone, but we'll just have to see. You know, I wonder how, you know, I would wonder how Wanda even has it in the first place. And you brought up the idea, like, before we started recording, that, you know, oh, well, the Infinity Stones could come back because, you know, when Thanos said he destroyed them, they could just have, like, reformed like they would in the comics. But I honestly feels like, yeah, I honestly feel like that change in the movies, how he destroyed them, when in the comics you can't. I feel like that's just a change to like benefit the movies and the plot of Endgame. But again, who knows? We'll just have to see on that.
Well, for me, I didn't think about this theory. My friend Jeff A.K. Ryersbach thought of it, and Thanos could have also bullshitted and lied to them that he destroyed them. He probably did, because again, when he showed his arm, it was almost basically black when he, like, almost gone when he just tried wishing to destroy them a second time. And I feel like, because like the particles are like probably on like the quantum scale of the stones, they're still in the air, but they're gonna take time to reform. And I feel like that's what happens after 5 years. They finally are reforming and they're coming back into this world, probably being used in different ways. It's not going to be the Infinity Gauntlet, just used in different ways. But that's me.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just love this scene in general. I
love it too.
Yeah, I just love, because Wanda's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. I absolutely love Wanda, and seeing her just get to like own a bitch is just amazing. And I just love seeing her like out of the reality, just like finally talking to the outside. It's like we're finally getting like, you know, her, like, you know, basically her like just talking like completely straight and like, you know, I have what I want. And it's like, I also wonder because it's like, you know, is she like, because is she really the one who like is control, who like managed to like brainwash this entire town? Like, she obviously has control for sure, but then this also leads into like the ending of the episode, and like this ending scene is probably my favorite episode of the series thus far, next to the ending scene of episode 3, where we just get like Vision finally like confront Wanda about all of this, and Wanda says how like, oh, you know, do you really think that I'm the one who like did all of this? And a part of, because my initial theory was that Wanda was in control of, she created this reality, she created all this, and someone
that's
was
100% true.
Sorry?
No, that's 100% true. She did have a favor of creating the dome because it is her dome. And
well, it's because what I had thought was she had done everything and someone was manipulating her. What I'm thinking now is that someone gave her. I'm thinking the exact opposite. I feel like I had my theory completely the wrong way around. Because what I'm thinking now is I'm thinking that she was given like this ability to like create this entire reality, and she's basically being given the keys to go like all ham and like create this reality and like bring Vision back to life and such. And someone like gave her the opportunity to do that. So I feel like my theory, I basically like gone like reverse, like the opposite of my theory now, essentially.
Okay. Well, of course, as we get for that end scene of Wanda and Vision getting to that spackle, before that, the kids with Wanda, now back in the world, find Agnes holding a wrapped up blanket Sparky, because Sparky ate some of the poisonous leaves on her bush. Like, death. Oh, the poor dog.
Yeah,
and and the thing is that, yeah, I know that Vision does come in like after like saying that she can't bring someone back to life, and he comforts the twins, and yeah, he had to bury the dog in their backyard. Dear God Almighty. Like,
yeah, it's, again, I just feel like Wanda's bullshitting across this entire scene. It's like she can do exactly what I feel like she can do exactly what she did with Vision here and just bring the dog back to life, which Agnes is shocked about. She's like, you can do that? And I was like to Zen, I was like, is that fake? Is that genuine? I think it's genuine because like, you know, it's
same here, especially with her, how she was when with the, do I have to do another take? I feel like that is her actually breaking out of character, and actually like we get to see more of the real Agnes. Especially we saw a little bit of the real Agnes during episode 3 when she was telling Herb to stop it. So like she could be like I know, again, a lot of people think she's Agatha Harkness, but my theory is she could be an actual witch, probably like living underneath a pseudonym, or maybe under the witness protection program. We don't know what. Maybe Wanda found her living in Westview to maybe try and help bring Vision back to life, and maybe she did not even though she was a witch, she probably did not have the power to do that, and that could be why Agnes is more there to Wanda and helping with everything else. That could be it. Maybe Agnes is like a weird unintentional red herring pawn. We have no clue. Maybe also she could be behind stuff. We don't know.
But then moving back to the ending scene, I just love Paul Bettany's acting here. I just want to like take a moment to just appreciate Paul Bettany's acting, because okay, production value wise, like even not talk about the story, like production value wise, I love this. I love how the credits start, but then they fizzle out. I love that moment. I love, you know, because Paul Bettany hasn't really been able to like, you know, because Vision in the 3 movies he appears in, Vision, like, he's essentially like, Vision's there to like, what am I trying to say? What's my train of thought here? Like Vision's there to like be like the calm voice. We rarely ever see him like go like, we ever see him like do like some bigger emotions, and now we're finally starting to see that out of him. And I love like his acting here, how you can really tell like, you know, he's like, for the first time, like, you know, Vision's really scared, he's like angry, and like it makes sense for this version because, you know, it's a Vision that just, it's a Vision that like, it's not the same Vision from those three movies that he appeared in, because this is a Vision that like, you know, Wanda conjured up. And I absolutely love it. I love seeing Paul, but like his acting is just A+ here. Absolutely love it. And him just not trusting Wanda here, it's just absolutely great. And
not to
ahead.
mention. Well, not to mention with that scene of when she says, you were not like this before. And he's like, before what? I don't remember anything before we got in here. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, wait. Okay, I'm like, I'm sure he doesn't remember his own death. But I'm like, does he not remember anything else? Does he not remember the other two films? Like, in his time? Because, like, before Infinity War, he had spent 2 years on the run with Wanda disguised. So it's like, does he not remember any of that? It makes more questions of whether or not, yes, what maybe Wanda did somehow use the Mind Stone or her illusions to do something with with Vision's corpse. But what if, because like I brought this up to Phil before we started recording. I have 3 possibilities. 1, yes, this could be Wanda just puppeteering Vision's corpse, and Vision will be permanently dead. 2, maybe the Mind Stone did come back, and she's actually like manipulating like Vision, and he doesn't know anything that's going on. She could have the power to do that. 3, maybe this is not the Vision that we know of. This could be the Vision from another universe that got pulled out from his world, maybe right as he was created, and just thrust into this one. That's a big possibility there. With Wanda's power, especially because of the certain person that appears right after this big dramatic fight scene happens. That is like, I think this dramatic fight, like, it's not even a fight scene, it's just a dramatic fight, like,
it's not even a fight scene, nah, it's just
fight.
like, it's just an argument between the two.
Yeah, it's a good argument scene.
And then we have the end of the episode, which, okay, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the fucking episode, please don't be spoiled on this. Just go watch the fucking episode. You shouldn't be watching this anyway. But it's like,
we're warning you, this is actually a really, really big spoiler here, please.
So the door opens, and first of all, it's funny. It's not funny, but it's like it's interesting to note that like Wanda, this isn't out of like Wanda's doing. So she absolutely does not know why this character is here in the first place. But it's Quicksilver, and you see the back. I love what they do here. You see the back of his hair, and it's the same kind of hairstyle that Pietro has in Age of Ultron. So it's like, oh, it's Pietro. But then it cuts to, like, you know, a front view, and it's Evan Peters from the fucking X-Men movies. And I screamed. I was like, fucking what? What the fuck is going on?
I know. I jumped out of my seat and was standing. I was lucky I was the only one in my apartment. And I was like, no. Oh my god. Multiverse theory. This is real. Oh shit. Oh dear god. This now changes more things. Oh no. Oh shit. And then Darcy's like, at the same time as this is happening, in the real world, there's like alarms buzzing. Something happened in the time span between Wanda coming out, going back in, and that moment. So we'll probably know what will happen at the next episode. But then Darcy's watching this, and she's like, Petra's been recast. And I'm like, no, he hasn't been just recast. He got pulled from a different universe, and I think that's why the sirens are buzzing. Probably something got pulled from our universe into the dome, not by Wanda, by something else.
I'm having a feeling like whoever else is a part of this, like whether it be Agnes or whoever else, I feel like they pulled Quicksilver out of his own universe. Because a lot of people are thinking like, oh, Magneto's going to be a part of this as well. Like so many other X-Men are like being pulled into this universe. What I think is happening is Quicksilver in particular got pulled into this universe. Like Quicksilver in particular got pulled into this universe from whoever else is like in charge here, and they pulled Quicksilver into this universe to like appease Wanda and like make Wanda happy, even though it's not her Pietro. So Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking with Quicksilver right here. And then probably come like Doctor Strange 2, Quicksilver will also be in that, and he'll be like, so yeah, how do I get back to my own dimension? You know what I'm saying?
Well, not to mention because now Evan Peters has now part of the cast. Like his name is in the end credits. This means that the next episode will have Pietro, or really, we're just gonna call him Quicksilver because it's not really Pietro, it's just Quicksilver.
Well, because in that universe he's called Peter because he's not Sokovian. So yeah, he's just this is just hey, it makes it easier to like differentiate the two. So we have Pietro Maximoff and Peter Maximoff, which is good.
I'm gonna just do Pietro as we know from the Disney MCU, and then I'm just gonna call Evan Peters Quicksilver to be a lot easier for me. So, but to have this Quicksilver, that means in the very next episode, because like I already know what the 90s episode's gonna be now, because yes, the opening sitcom for the 80s had a couple references to Full House for the family running in a green space around the town, and then a picnic scene at the end. I have a very strong feeling that the 90s sitcom episode will probably be inspired by Full House. Not really meaning to do it, but they're gonna, because now they have their fun, cool uncle moving in at the end, which means that it's just gonna mean that Sword's gonna be wondering, okay, who is he? Because
what I'm thinking, because it's they also said Friends was an inspiration, so I'm thinking that the next episode is gonna be a mix between Friends and Full House. It's like,
oh my god, you're right. That is a 90s sitcom. Shit.
Yeah. I am so, and Zen was like messaging me like, haha, get the phone because I called it, and I'm like, no, you said that Quicksilver, yes, you did say that Quicksilver was coming back, but first of all the context was wrong, so shut up, Zen, and and secondly, this isn't the same Quicksilver, so you're technically not even right, but yeah, and she's like, oh, but because in both the previous episodes and also this one, like Zen's just like, oh, well, we didn't see the body. Yes, we did. They took the body at the end of Age of Ultron. And also, what you told me before the episode, before we recorded this, is that Wanda sensed her brother dying. So it's like,
yeah. Well, like in Age of Ultron, yes, we saw Pietro with bullet holes in him. He's after saving Hawkeye and a boy. And then he collapses. And then Wanda, because of her new enhanced powers, felt her twin brother die and scream in anguish. Not to mention that Hawkeye does drag Pietro's body on and lays right next to it while he's injured because his wounds had reopened. And, well, again, Wanda goes to one of the Ultron robot bodies and it's like, I lost something, and just uses her powers to rip his heart out. Like,
yeah, because it's like, and I get Zen's point of view on it, because she's not really happy about the fact that Pietro died in the MCU, which I can understand. It's I myself am indifferent on it, but I was like, they can't possibly have, like, because his corpse right now would be like bones. It would literally be like bones right now, and 6 feet under. So it's like, and I think, so I feel like this is a really good way to get around that, where we just get Evan Peters, and that's the Pietro that we have here. I feel like they did a really good way of like getting around. They did a really good way of like getting around this this entire thing. So yeah. I'm just so, like, my theories have been completely changed at this point. I love this episode. Like, I can't wait to see what they do next and what they do with Evan Peters Quicksilver. I can't wait to see, like, what this means for, like, mutants coming into, like, the future. I'll be honest, I hope that this isn't them just bringing the entirety of the X-Men cast from the Fox universe. I do hope that they do change. I hope that they at least changed a good portion of them. Like, at least they could like, even if we're doing multiverse stuff, they can at least bring like a different set of mutants into this universe. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, also we do have that Spider-Man 3 movie that has all of the Spider-Man and all of the villains, but also, like I mentioned earlier, that yes, Monica might be getting her own powers because she's going to become the first mutant in this universe. I have a feeling that at the very end of this, because this series of WandaVision is based off of 3 certain specific comics: House of M, The Visions, and the issue of WandaVision meeting Mephisto with Agatha Harkness. So, what's going to happen is if they are following House of M, which Elizabeth also stated that's one of her favorite event comics from an interview, is I have a very strong feeling that that Wanda is going to, when she has a burst of her Big Bang energy, is going to create mutants. That is what's going to happen. She is going to accidentally make a new age of superheroes. And that's why Phase 4, yes, we're going to start off with multiverse stuff, but it's why we're having new characters and new stuff coming for Phase 4. And it explains so much of what's going to happen. So,
I'll be honest, I prefer that, even though they would need to polish that a lot story-wise, because I don't think that makes entirely a lot of sense, but even if they need to, like, even if they would need to polish that up a lot, I do prefer that than, like, just ripping the Fox X-Men out of their own universe. Like, for the most part, like, I'm happy with Quicksilver being here. Of course, Deadpool's, like, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool is going to be in the MCU, so, like, we already know that. So yeah, bring over, like, some key players that a lot of people would absolutely love to see, but overall, like, make it a clean slate, because the thing is, most people did not like fucking Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. Those were, like, universally considered, like, pretty fucking awful movies. So, like, a lot of the casting decisions there just didn't work. I would just completely do a clean slate on a lot of those characters. But, again, bring over a lot of characters who, you know, were loved, like Deadpool and Quicksilver, but mostly just, you know, like, do mutants from the ground up. And I feel like, you know, you could either do... You know, you could either do it like, you know, just pulling them from a multiverse, or do it like what you said, Casey. And I'd actually honestly prefer that. My only thing then is, like, you know, you have certain mutants who have existed for, like, a long, long time. It's like, how would you do those? So I feel like if they're gonna do it that way, they would need to rewrite reality itself to where mutants have always been here, you know? Because otherwise I don't see exactly how you could do someone like Professor X completely right, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, it's why I feel like she's gonna accidentally unlock the hidden mutant gene in some people around the world. That would make the most logical sense with her powers, that it accidentally, like, unlocks the potential of mutants now appearing in this world, and it does not have to.
Yeah, probably how, like, probably what they could do is, like, only, like, a very, 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 very set number of people have ever had, like, the mutant gene, and now this can set off, like, a whole heap of people getting it, and then that's probably what could be, like, the catalyst for Professor X saying, yeah, I'm gonna make an entire school for mutants. So,
and maybe have a completely different Professor X, because, like, I mean, I only grew up on the first 3 X-Men films, and along with watching Logan, those are the only 4 films I have watched. I've never seen the other Wolverine films. No, wait, have seen that
James McAvoy is, like, really good in the part of Professor X. I will say that. It's just that, like, you know, at this point, it's like, bring in new blood, bring in new people, you know, bring in new people to, like, fill out this X-Men cast.
I have not seen those Days of Future Past films because I feel like those are convoluted. I didn't see the second Wolverine film, but
First Class and Days of Future Past are really good movies. You should absolutely watch them. Like, First Class isn't convoluted at all. It's like it's very straightforward. So yeah, First Class and Days of Future Past I would absolutely recommend. Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix avoid like the plague.
Well, I do remember watching the first Wolverine film where they did have Ryan Reynolds trying to be Deadpool, and even when they made Deadpool, they made sure to know, yeah, no, that didn't exist at all. We ignored that one. And so, like, which I highly agree with Ryan Reynolds, because that I hate how they did him dirty in that film. But I'm more excited for what we're going to see more of WandaVision, because, like, we already got, like, a few things that are going to be set up for the next episode, such as the 90s, more of the real world, what was with the buzzing going on when Darcy was checking the sitcom TVs, Monica probably talked with the assistant director and being extremely pissed off that he tried to kill her in front of her kids.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens, especially with the kids. It's like, because I feel like at this point, like they will find a way to like bring them into reality to like have Speed and Wiccan. But we'll just have to see. I feel like that's a safe bet, but we'll just have to wait and see.
But then again, we saw the police stand by, so we have no clue what happened in that time frame on the sitcom. We see Wanda looking at the drone. Next thing you know, she's stomping out of her little sitcom world to push the drone out. So we're probably gonna see what happened, maybe in a flashback or something, in the 90s episode. Cause like, oh, I thought of a sad thing. What if she tossed the dog into the thing? And that's why Agnes covered her body.
Oh no.
I don't know. Cause why do you think Agnes covered the dog's body? To stop the burn mark? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
it could be not to show a missile through its stomach. I don't know.
No.
This is on Disney Plus, and this is actually, I just realized this probably is rated TV-14, but still, it's probably PG-13.
Nah, it's probably PG-13.
It could do whatever it wants.
But yeah, But yeah, final thoughts on the episode. This is probably my favorite episode thus far. I love this in episode 3 like almost equally, but I think like this one probably edges it out just because of all the mind-blowing shit that happens here, and just a lot of the same like reasons why I love episode 3 pertain to this one. Just we also know a lot more now, and this one's just so fucking good. We're starting to get more into like Wanda, like we're starting to get more into like Wanda's mind and like why she's doing this, and also like who else could potentially be doing this, and just like the Quicksilver reveal at the end, plus Vision figuring everything out and like not knowing who he is. It's all great stuff. I love this episode. Dare I say, I would give it a Kana stamp of approval.
Yay! Well, for me, like you just mentioned, the 3rd episode, but I also love the 4th episode as well. But the 5th one, I actually really love
episode 4 as well. I love episode 4 as well. I just think episode 3 is a great encapsulation of everything that works about the series so far. So, yeah, but episode 4 is also really, really good as well.
I don't know, but I truly loved episode 5. Like, the first 2 episodes are going to be slow because they're taking inspiration for the 50s and 60s, because even though seeing drunk Vision in episode 2 was just wonderful with hijinks, I'm excited that we're finally getting more of the storyline that's going to actually evolve, and like it's gonna get more crazy and insane, and it's gonna get heartbreaking as we get closer and closer, and I'm just gonna be holding my Halloween WandaVision of Wanda and Vision in my arms when we get to the inedible sadness. I'm just gonna be sad, but I will give this a kind of seal of approval. Yeah. I get
got to voice Kana on my channel. Yay.
Yeah.
Who knows? That might not be the last time for my viewers. But we'll just you guys will just have to wait and see for that. But yeah, Casey, thank you for joining me for this episode. It was just a pleasure to have you on here.
No problem. I had a lot of fun on here, honestly. At least I get to talk with another person on WandaVision, because I can't even talk to my own boy, because he'd rather watch streams right now than watch WandaVision. WandaVision's just been great so far. We're officially now past the halfway point, and now just the remaining 4 episodes are just going to be an absolute treat. I can't wait for the remaining 4 episodes. And then look forward to after the series comes out, because there's a 2-week break between there's 2 weeks between the end of WandaVision and the start of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So in the week in between, expect an entire series review. And I'll just say right now, Casey, will you be good to come back for that? I already know the answer, but you know. Yeah, I'm definitely and hopefully, I will have a free time, because once at the end of February, I go back to work at my job that I can't talk about because of reasons.
Yep. Well, but yeah, even going past that, we'll definitely be sure to like bring you back on board for a few episodes of like just all the different Disney Plus series, because we're gonna be doing all of them as well as the movies. So yeah.
I am so in for that. Like I mean, okay, if you guys have not done that Disney documentary, I want you guys to watch it, and I get to join you, and you get to see how much I cried during the whole entire thing.
We're probably not going to do it because it's not part of Phase 4 of the MCU, but like, yeah, it's...
I meant for Disney Plus stuff, if you're just besides doing
we're not
stuff.
we're not doing just because it's not just specifically the Disney Plus stuff, we're doing the Phase 4 stuff in general.
Oh, well, I thought of an idea for you guys for another thing. Yay!
Lol. But with that being said, guys, Zen will be back here next week with me to talk about episode 6. So yeah, it's it's been fun for this episode. This is probably the best episode of the series so far. I can't wait to do more. With that being said, guys, I'm Philip.
And I'm Casey.
And we will see you guys next time. Well, Casey won't see you next time. She'll see you for a future episode of Phasing Forward. But me and Zen will see you guys for the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.